It's the Real Estate Show. We've come to sell DR.
Am I still on? Got him for about an hour. We're talking everything Dominican Republic, maybe a little real estate, politics. Buckle up and welcome aboard.
Hey there, can you hear me? I just did the blur. I was playing around with the back end. I've never done that before.
Am I still on? This is my guest.
Hi.
This is his website right here, MarioFamaRD.com, as it's pronounced in Spanish. This is his fake book. All the links will be in the show description. This is his Insta. Shit, 7,400 followers. Nice. TikTok and the new, well, not so much new channel. He's got 5,000 subs on his YouTube channel, but you'll find his podcasts here as well. And even shorts. Yeah, it's looking good, brother. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm just playing out with the background. Don't mind me. I'm like a little kid.
Oh, nobody
saw this now.
Nobody can see you yet.
So cool. Oh, this is so cool. Look at this. I'm like in space. Oh, I like this. I'm keeping this. That's it. That's it. That's it. We're done. All right, here we go, Mario. We're done here.
Space cadet.
Okay.
I blurred my background too, but then it makes my headphones go kind of weird. So, I mean.
Yeah, I'm in outer space. I'm an alien. I'm an illegal alien. I overstayed my 30-day visa.
You know what? It's Thursday night. I got my Eagles coming up tonight. We got the Tyson fight tomorrow. It's a good weekend for sports. No F1, but good weekends for sports. I don't like the Thursday night games. I like it because it's nationally televised. When we used to play darts at London Arms in St. Catharines, Ontario, me and Johnny Nitzo, one of the owners of the group that owns all those hotels out in Niagara there, we called ourselves Fanopolis because it was Fanon and Nitzopolis, and we were the Monday night team in London Arms. And I used to love it when the Eagles played because Monday night was dart night, and you knew the whole nation was watching. Everyone's watching your show. But I want my football games at 1 o'clock on Sunday. I don't want to wait till 4. 4 is kind of cool, but I don't want to wait till 4 for the game. I certainly don't want to wait till 8 o'clock or Monday or Thursday, having a short week, but I'll take it. So my boys are playing the Redskins, who are trying to get their name back after Daniel Snyder thought the Redskins was offensive. Now there's a petition, I understand, with 500,000 signatures to bring back the Redskins name. They went a year being called the Washington Football Team, and then they called them the Commanders. Just like in Canada, they renamed the Eskimos to whatever because they thought it was, patronizing to the Inuit people or whatever. Unbelievable.
I love the name of the Redskins. I mean, when I came to the United States of America, it was a very nice, and I like to watch the American football. And I still remember watching all of the original team names, the Steelers, the Redskins,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like I never saw it like that, I think, I get it, but I mean, I think, a lot of things have happened and a lot of people got tired of those things. And right now it's just kind of trying to find an equilibrium somewhere. I think that's where it's going.
Get the balance right.
I remember Carl Ripken I was like a little kid, car rep camp, playing for the Redskins, and they had those cool helmets. And as a kid coming from Eastern Europe, like every the San Francisco and everybody having the Dolphins, and it was just the coolest thing. You know what I mean? It was like
Pittsburgh
toys,
Pirates. Remember those hats, those black hats with the
Yeah.
gold stars, and Willie Stargell and those boys? Even back then, I was wearing them hats. I wasn't a baseball, like a Pirates fan. Is it Pittsburgh Pirates, was it?
And
Pittsburgh. I don't know.
was
Those,
they had
had a
Pirates
flat-
baseball.
baseball.
Team, right?
But the
Steelers.
Stargell or
Steelers,
whatever,
club.
they had the 3 stars and then the Pittsburgh logo in the middle. Those were some cool hats, man. Back in the day.
Yeah, so that's what I always
70s.
know them. I don't like when they change it just in general. I don't know, maybe I'm a grumpy old man, but I hate when they change team names.
I don't think
it's
any
just
of us are designed for any type of change. Like, I just went through, and I know you did too, just this moving thing is unbelievable. And yet, when you wake up and you get a call and you're like, oh, I'm moving? You know, I've never been subject to that before. In this country, I've been pretty stable, but one day I got up and I'm like, oh, my living room arrangements aren't quite satisfactory any longer. What do I do? It's high season. And the panic and the not knowing. And, I've done real estate for 30 years, and I kind of consider myself to be somewhat resigned and cynical and maybe a cherry picker as far as who I work with because, I'll do the hand holding. I love people. And I certainly love putting them together with decent deals that they can be happy of, down the road. But I had a simple rental the other day. Nicandro here said, and I think I understood what he said, but I talked to Ratty. I'm like, did he say he's got a friend down here that wants to rent her apartment? Yeah. So I said, how much to the owner? And she says, you tell me. So I ran through. I said, listen, I'm really aggressive on pricing. So if you want it rented right away, it's $750. It's a three bedroom main floor here in Caribe Campo, and dated but really functional, and it's a decent deal. I said, you can get 1,000, but you're gonna have to wait. You might have to wait a long time, but I'll get you $750 right away. And bang, it was. I rented it to a friend. Through George said, did you send this to Sherry? I'm like, no, dude, it's on 40 sites. It's on my status on my WhatsApp. I mean, how could she not see it? Send it to Sherry. He goes, he's my, George. I call him my Russian father jokingly, you know what I mean? And she just simply said the other day, thanks, you made my day. Like, you don't know what we've been going through, not knowing where we're going to live. We've been looking everywhere, and this was just boom, and thank you. You made a difference for me. And I was like, suddenly, after 30 years of getting beaten up and being taken advantage of and, lack of integrity with agents and buyers alike, and it doesn't matter who you deal with. Relationships are tough, right? And once in a while you get a client, and then it just goes, Jimmy, thanks. You don't, like, do you made my day today? I'm like, wow. Thank you.
Because moving is difficult. I've done it a lot over this country.
The not knowing too is the worst part. When you don't know where you're going, moving.
Well, I didn't know. That's what happened to me because I was living in Cap Cana, and I was like, look, I can't go more than like 10 minutes door to door from my office because I bought my office, so I'm not going anywhere. The office is the stability I have, right? So I just couldn't do the drive anymore. I couldn't do the drive half an hour out, down. And, Bávaro now is, you've seen it when you were here. This is like a city, and the cars, the traffic, the rain and everything. And I was like, I just can't do it anymore. So I had a very limited range. I didn't know where I was going to live. And I had a very limited area of where I was looking to move. Right, because I wouldn't even go as far as Cocotal. I wouldn't go. I just wanted to be close to downtown as possible. And then poof, and I saw the apartment, and I wasn't even sure I was going to take it. But it was really weird because the client, the broker, became the client.
Yeah.
No, and I'll tell you the call to action. Right. So I saw the apartment, and it's a 55 square meter, 1 bedroom, but I don't need more than that. It's very functional. Beautiful kitchen. It's a brand new construction. Right. Pool area is insane. Gym, everything. When I saw the apartment, it had like 1 walk-in closet, but it's not that big. And originally I was like, this might be too small because all the junk that I've accumulated in this country over the years, right? And my friend was like, well, the owner wants to know if you're going to take it. And the price was really good. So I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I will. Why not? You know what I mean? I was working on another property as well, but they didn't get back to me in time. And I said, you know what? Now I'm going to be the professional client, right? And to give myself my own advice that I give to people: a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. And if this person's working with you easily, giving you the right price and everything, just do it, And then that's the best decision I made. I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm happy to be 10 minutes door to door. I don't have to, because I've lived in Cap Cana, and then when I moved I used to have my office in Cap Cana. And when I moved my office to downtown, it just was tiring. And everything is downtown, right? Or sometimes Corrales, like where you and I hung out. So, okay, at least I can make it 15, 20 minutes to Corrales. Before, it was 45 minutes to Corrales from where I was at in Cap Cana. So I would never go out. I would go home and I wouldn't go out anywhere because it was too much. Like, oh, you go out, you hang out, you got to drive back 2 highways. It's just too much. And my man had a lot of stuff to do inside the complex here. So I didn't know where I was going to live, but I did turn into the client in this case because my friend rented it. And like, I don't even, like, when I'm a client, I don't even ask for my commission or anything like that. I'm just, look, you be happy, you get me a good deal, that's it. I don't care. I'm like the easiest person to deal with, because I know what it's like to be on the other end of it. So I don't want to be a jerk client. I think a lot of time we talk about how bad the brokers are, right? Everybody likes to point out the bad brokers. But my dear people, you're not easy. There's a reason why we exist, because you are not easy to deal with.
And that's why we don't send you with the offer to negotiate with the seller, because you put a third party in the middle that does, is motivated by one thing, putting 2 parties together and earning his commission. And that's, if FSBOs were easy to just put a sign in your lawn and it would sell. And hey, in some markets in North America, you don't even need an agent. You just put a sign up and it's gone. But if agents weren't worth the money, they wouldn't keep paying them for hundreds of years. So, yeah, and what's going on in the States
like
is
the
crazy.
Headache, it's all the stuff, just dealing with the headaches, dealing with everything, negotiating, and I'm telling you, when I am a client, when I am a client, I act like an actual client. I am not one of those brokers that are like, oh, I'm a broker, so let me get involved and tell the guy this and that. No, I turn into a full, like, this is what I want, this is what I need, make it happen for me, boom, let's go. I'm happy, I pay my money, and that's it. Like I said, I don't even take commission. I paid my own agents. I've paid my own agents when they rented to me, because like I have an agent in the office in the past where I moved and I was like, find me an apartment, and they found that I paid them. I didn't even take my cut. That's just how I am,
Nice, cool.
The advice I give, I actually take.
Tell me about how you're seeing the market now here, and feel free to cross over. We discussed what we're going to talk about today, which kind of seems to be the same all the time. But, I'm interested in the Dominican Republic opening the Constitution in a weekend and sewing it back up again. If we tried that in Canada, it would take us 5 years of, groups and committees and votes and national referendum. That doesn't happen in my country. And then the fiscal reform that they brought forward and then backed away from, I see what they're trying to do, catch up to, the other countries. But then, you do put restrictions on your own country, and that could be, harmful. And then, we saw a little bit of pushback from industry and the public in general, and they pulled it. So, but, having a second term, very comfortable president that thinks he's got or does have a mandate. You don't get 2 terms. That's why they do everything in the second term. I won't be surprised if it comes back, in some form or another. We talked about the organization of real estate. I talked to Stephen Bocut. He's the sales manager at Casa Linda the other day. I haven't spoken to him. I'm not good at staying in touch with people. You know that as a friend. I should do a better job. And I said that to him right off the bat. I got to apologize. And he's like, hello, you know who I am, right? Like, yeah, you should have lunch with me once in a while. And he said, and he's so perfectly put and easy to understand, because, and I don't, I don't know, I don't have a brain like that. He's a Marine, right? So he said, for the taxation stuff, no problem. They could implement that in January. No problem. All they do is flick a switch and it's changed. The organization of real estate, there's no bureaucracy for that. There's not. They'd have to build that from the ground up. Whatever they build would have to be brand new, and that could take some time. So that kind of gave me some hope that, they're not going to pass a law tomorrow that says all expats are finished in this country. They got to, work.
Well, I'll give you an update on that, because I worked on that since we last spoke, right?
So
well, first of all, they did an amendment to the Constitution super fast. I'm from the States too, things are different there. And that's just how it works here. But it was almost like grand opening pantyhose. They didn't really talk much about it. It was just, that was probably the least talked about thing, which might be maybe what they did that, and they threw the Reforma Fiscal at the same time to kind of like, hey, look over there, boom, bang, bing. So what that means, what they did, I don't even know all the details. From somebody told me it's not much that they did, but I don't know too much of the details on that. And quite frankly, it doesn't even affect us expats.
No, well, everything I looked at what they did, and everything that I looked at sounded really reasonable, like term limits and limiting lobby.
Right, it wasn't anything drastic that they did. Right,
Yeah, it was all good what they did.
Yeah. Now, with the Reforma Fiscal talking about that, there was more than pushback on that. I mean, people were threatening blood in the streets. That was pretty serious. Because people have to understand something, right? And I don't since I travel more and I go for like the Panama, as you know, right? I'm a resident there, and then I've gone to Colombia and stuff like that, and my friends in Colombia. So he's constantly like showing me what he pays for things, and I've seen things in Colombia, like Medellin. That's not to say Colombia, because every city's different. But like Medellin is reaching the pricing of in Panama City right now, right? Because of all the tourism there. Now, what ends up happening is, people always tend to compare everything to where they're originally from, the United States or from Canada, but I compare it to other Latin American countries. And what happens is expats don't understand. One of my biggest issues is these people come in and they're like, things are not that bad here. It's cheaper than where I'm from. But where you're from is irrelevant. That's like you could be from the moon. Who cares? You flew here on a spaceship. The people here care. The people here, like if you live here as a local and you make your money from here and you do all of that, you realize that the taxation is massive. I mean, to 18% tax, right, is insane. I go to Panama where it's 0% on food and 7% on alcohol and stuff, right? And I see 18% as insane. And you're in Colombia and you see the prices and you come back here and you're like, damn. And I'll tell you a story about that later in the show, right? Another person's point of view from the States. And then you look at all the prices. Like, I don't know if you realize, and I don't know if people here realize, right? I'll pose you this question. The median income, right? Let's forget about the what do you call it? The minimum income. Minimum income is crap everywhere in the world, right? So the median income, what's the median income in Toronto? Let's say 60,000 Canadian dollars or something like that.
It's median. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I wouldn't even want to guess.
Let's say it's 60, right?
Okay.
Let's say 60 Canadian. You're not rich and you're not poor. You're just you're getting by, right? Okay, that's just still a crap salary, right? Now you take the median income and you times it by 3, and you can live decently in Toronto, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know you can do that in New York. It's like $63,000 US in New York, the median. And if you make 3 times that, you're chilling like a hill, and you're like, New York is not that bad. You're living good, right? You're saving some money and everything like that. Now you come here to the Dominican Republic and you take the median income of the Dominican Republic and you times it by 3, and a person cannot buy a Kia Sportage and an entry-level 6 million peso apartment in Santo Domingo Este. They cannot afford that with 3 times. I have a friend of mine who worked for the government. He was making 150,000 pesos a month, and he quit his job to open up a business because he said, I got 2 kids, man. What am I going to do with 150,000 pesos a month? I can't live with that.
Wow.
That's no money. Because, you have to remember, like, I know sometimes people from the North Coast, you got a $750 3-bedroom, right? And that's people because they have money from abroad. But think about a person making 3 times. The median income in this country is $1,000, let's say, a month, right? $3,000. Okay, your apartment right now, these people paid $750, right? Now to get that entry level Kia Sportage right now, it's going to cost you another $750 a month, right? After you put 30% down on financing, right? Because of I'm talking about $750 a month if you're not getting Dominican rates. If you're getting my business like preferential, there's your $1,500 right there, gone. Right now, you're talking about health insurance, cell phones, food. Once in a while, going out, you're easily hitting $3,000, $3,500 a month, and you're not saving any money. You got to pay for kids' school, supplies, and things. Gas, which is $5 a gallon here, right? So you take all that stuff and you put it together. You realize that the people of this country are they're living from check. Most people live from préstamo to préstamo. I don't know if you know that. Most people live from like credit card to credit card, loan to loan. They put a little money into the colmado that they owe. They put a little money to this. They're constantly just in that cycle. So when they proposed this reforma fiscal, this would have been the straw that broke the camel's back. Right? So people went out there and they were like, there's going to be blood. They had to just kill it. There was no working with it, nothing. What one should be worried about in any form of government where something is proposed that's so drastic that could hurt people so badly, right? Like, charging people taxes for anything under $200 on Amazon, doubling the marbetes and things like that. You see the intention. If you couldn't do it, it's like somebody tried to, it's like somebody tried to get me on the street, like stick me up, and they failed. You don't go home and you're like, okay, yeah, that's it. No, you're like, damn, there's somebody trying to stick me up out there, man. That guy can come again later on. Shoot, I got to be careful right now, right? It's kind of like the same thing. So what happens is it was so drastic that people here, especially that live here, those, whether you're an expat or not, you think about these things and it affects your consumer confidence, right? Because you're like, damn, the taxes are so high. Everything's so high. And at any given moment, me lo voy a meter frío. It means it's going to give it to you cold, right? And not in a nice way. So that's really what happened. You have to think about that kind of stuff because the taxation here is really high. And again, you have to travel to other Latin American countries to see the pricing to be like, oh, because it's easy to go back to Toronto and be like, well, it's $5 more for this, or it's more dollars this and that, right? Yeah, but these people don't give a damn about what you're paying Quebec and Toronto and New York City and LA and Miami. They don't care about that. They care about what they're paying here and the fact that it is ridiculously higher than most of Latin America.
Gotcha.
And high taxation. Yeah. And I know a lot of people, like, I'm in real estate, I pay. I know there's a lot of real estate agents that are on the table. That's cool, whatever. But me, I pay. When I get that 18% and I got to do the retention and I got to do all of that, I've had months where I paid $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 to pay in taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Easily. And you're just like dollars, not pesos, right? And when you see that, and then you don't get anything in return, right? People, when people first come here, especially like Canadians, I think was you guys have it in a certain way better. You at least have healthcare, right? Whether you're okay with it or not, that's a separate issue. We in the United States, one of the main reasons Americans leave is because of lack of healthcare, which I figured out how. You get international insurance when you're abroad, and then you can be fine in your home country going back and forth. So there's a way around that now. And thank you for living abroad. I've learned how to bypass that, right? Which is a lot better than what they offer you there. But here you get nothing. You don't get the trash picked up. You don't get the potholes fixed. You don't do all of that. So when people are paying taxes and they wanted to tax incomes and they wanted people to pay an accountant, for a Dominican person to pay 5,000 pesos at the end of the year, right? Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Now here's a 5,000 peso bill. That's like a $300-$400 bill to your average person making like entry level income, right? And now they got to pay in Christmas time for $500 to their acconttant.
Yeah,
right. Think about it like that from our thing. Those kind of things affected people here, so that's what happened. But I think they have to figure out, because the hyperinflation that we've gone through here is starting to peak its head. You've seen me argue about tips and about all of that all the time, and we talked about that when you were here. And somebody put up the specials of a sandwich place or whatever in Sosua, and I was like, you know what, Mario? I looked at it, I said, I have to remember who I'm arguing with sometimes and what part of the country that people live in, right? Because I'm looking at 200 peso, 250 peso sandwiches, and people are telling me you should tip these people well. I agree. If my bill was 250, here's another 250, buddy. I'll leave you 100 peso, 100% tip. You're crazy. What are you talking about? My bills are 10,000, 7,000, 6,000, 5,000. Everything's in the thousands that I pay. I go out with my girlfriend to grab the lunch and whatever. You know what I mean? We're paying 3,000-4,000. Right. So it's not like I'm not paying. I don't have 250 peso places where I'm at. Right? I don't go to those places. So I have to understand who I'm dealing with. And once people understand what I spend a year in my business going out, like for me, lunch is 1,000. With taxes and everything, you got a lunch, a bottle of water or something like that, or seltzer water, and the tax and tip and everything. I'm at 1,000 easily. Like I can do 1,000 without even Today's a good thing. I wanted soup, and I finally found chicken soup in one of the restaurants downtown next to my office. It's so hard to find soup in this country. And I got a soup and an empanada, and that was about 800 and change with delivery, everything 900. Yeah.
Wow.
Right, because the soup was like 5.
It's a huge adjustment. And you know what? When I looked up the tax rates after I saw this fiscal reform, I started digging into some of the changes and proposals, and then I looked at the GDP and what the percentage of this taxes was of the GDP. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 2%. This tax proposal, this fiscal reform, was 2% of GDP. That's a massive thing. Like, I can't remember what the GDP is.
I don't remember yet,
20.
I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and people are overstretched.
But here's the thing. So I pull up all the taxes, and here it is from this stage to and I think the top threshold was 25% or something. And back home, and you talk about comparing it to back home, like I compare a lot of things to back home, like eggs here are $3 Canadian. 125 pesos is 280 Canadian or something like that. That's not crazy. But when my bike breaks down, it doesn't cost me $300 to get it looked at and an hour of service to take the water out of the gasoline. It's $16, dude. And, and I went to buy a washer, one of those, I guess they call them Dominican washers, the manual and the spinner on the side, which I really love because I don't mind doing laundry. And I'm a control freak, so I love to, wash it, rinse it real well, and, all this kind of stuff. Anyways, I was so blown away there was no tax. Oh, I paid 11,000 pesos for the thing or whatever, and there's no tax, no delivery. Like, there's no sales tax.
Keep in mind, sometimes you're not paying tax because they're not paying tax.
But I just figured that's L&R. That's a big chain. They should, like, if there was tax on a washing machine, they should be charging it to me. No, maybe not. I don't know.
Listen, 18% of PYMES, PYMES. These are medium and small businesses, right?
Oh.
Only 18% of medium and small businesses in the Dominican Republic are registered and paying taxes.
Oh,
and out of those, some avoid taxes as well. They don't pay all of it. So you understand what's going on and the president had made a speech about this before he got elected. Everyone understands, and I'll give you a comparison. Everyone understands the higher the taxes, the more evasion, right? Now I go over to my Panama right across, right? And it's a comparable, what do you call it? It's always DR and Panama are always being compared. So it's a very fair comparison. I'm not comparing like DR with Switzerland, right? Because that would not be fair. But I'm comparing it with the next other company, the country that they're always in neck and neck and everything, right? In Panama, the tax is 0% on food. Everybody has credit card readers. You can pay through your phone for a bottle of water in the park to the guy who sells water for $1 or whatever. There's no tax. 7% tax on everything else. You look at their tax structure on income, and it's actually super fair, right? Here, the tax, you have to understand, first you get taxed, like if you're a business owner, first you got to pay 18% tax on services, then retention, then accounting. People don't understand. An attorney and an accountant cost me more here than they cost me in Manhattan in New York City. Okay, so all those now, and I bought my car. My rate here, I can get 0% financing with credit in the United States for a car. Here, I'm paying 9% financing. My car that costs $40,000 on sale right now in the United States, I paid $74,000 for that. Amortized that $34,000 over the 3-4 years that I have the car, and all the other expenses that I have incurring running a business. And for me, it's coming out to a lot more. Now, here's where it comes in as well. This is what people have to understand, expats. It depends on where you live in the Dominican Republic. You live in Santo Domingo, Santiago, and you guys in Sosúa, Cabarete, you guys got fair pricing on electricity. In here, where I was living before, I was paying 4 times South Florida prices for electricity a month per kilowatt hour, right? 4 times, and in Barbados, 3 times what you pay in the United States for electricity. Okay, so yes, my rent is lower, but my electric bill is 3 times of what I'm paying in New York.
Wow.
And I got to use the AC 24/7 because I'm in hot weather all the time. My gas is $5 versus $3.39 or whatever it is in Florida, right? And when you drive a lot, that's an extra $150, $250 a month that you add up. So you see where I'm going with it? It's different. Like, okay, if you're in Sosúa, you're chilling, you got your pasola, you get these, 200-350 specials in Sosúa. That's a different one lifestyle. But the people that live in the major cities here, right? And where am I going to go to a hole in the wall here? I'm going to go to eat at a regular restaurant or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not going to spend 2 gallons of gas to go save, on food. So what happens is, and I'll leave the supermarket, they have like the buffet, whatever, I'll eat at that, whatever. But what I'm saying, life in general, if you want a quality of life, because I know I have a lot of expats that are like, why did you move there to be like here and then to be there? Listen, man, some people moved here for a better quality of life than they had back home. Some people couldn't afford, like me, I'm from New York City. Do you know how difficult it is for me to have an apartment in New York City with a doorman, a pool, a gym? That apartment is going to cost me $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. I don't know, in Manhattan, right? So I moved here because I want that, and I want to work, and I want to get that, and I want to be able to afford that. Me personally, I didn't move here to live in a barrio on top of a colmado. That's just not what I'm doing. I want a better quality of life. Otherwise, I would have stayed back home. So when you compare apples and apples, you have to look at what your spending is, because it does cost more money here. Everything, financing costs more money. Right? Everything costs more money here. So you're saving on one end of it. It's like labor. When you want to do work in your apartment, in the kitchens or whatever, labor is very cheap, but the materials cost more than the United States because they're imported.
That's what I love about
that. Think about it.
Labor's the best here. Well, how do you see the effects of, the last show I did, I said, congratulations to the United States, not because of who won, but because they got it done the same day. It wasn't stretched out over 4 or 5 days or a week, which would have just thrown the markets into turmoil, and that's what I thought was going to happen. So I'm so glad they got it done, because the markets want to know right now. Well, I mean, last time was weird, and so I thought we were set up for something as weird or weirder, and I'm glad that they got it done. And Bitcoin took a huge spike. My limited perception into the market based on inquiries and based on my limited Airbnb traffic and my Airbnb, like, it's easy to do research on Airbnb, especially when you're looking at your local competition. You just look at everyone around you and see when they're available. And I just happened to be looking for Christmas and New Year's. And at the beginning of October, everything was vacant. Everything was wide open. You could book anything you wanted around me over here in Caribe Campo on Airbnb. And I haven't looked at it in over a month now, but, some guys are saying maybe it's just a late season. I don't know. It was a slow, low season this year. And unless you have a really good client retention, like, one of my hotel owners raised his rates and he's full until April, but he takes care of business. He's got a very specific clientele he caters to, and he does very well. Those people are doing well still. If you know your client, you cater to them well, you stay in touch, they will be loyal. But everyone else is hurting, man. And, you know, I see people in the groups going, tourism's up, you know, record years. And some people said the other day, which is an interesting idea, you know, well, maybe the numbers are here, but people just aren't going out as much. Okay, well, that's the thing, you know, and maybe we'll see less tourism and more boomers selling everything they've got in places like the States where the HOA committees are killing them with fees, tripling in a few years, and where electricity and utilities up north, you got natural gas, a huge expense, especially in Canada. Maybe we'll see less tourism and a little bit more of people just saying, I'm moving to Sasua, man. I'm out. I heard there's lots of French people there. You know.
I'll tell you what I think from what I've seen. I mean, obviously, this has been a slow year. The Reforma Fiscal of the Dominican Republic affected everybody who has a business, expat or not. And we were all like, oh, shit, like what's going to happen right now, right? So that affected everything here, the population here. The U.S. elections, and I think that we've learned, especially in this election, right, how important the U.S., number one, I mean, who doesn't know that the Dominican Republic and the U.S. is just like this? They're like tied together, right? So it affects everything that we do here and affects the entire Latin America. I think I know that definitely Dominican Republic, everybody here was on weight. Now, what happened? The election happened. Now you're going to have different kinds of people, right? You're going to have I'm leaving. It's not safe for me. I hate America. I'm out of here. Got it. Those people are going to come here. They're going to want to buy. Okay, cool. Then you're going to get the other people who are on the side that they approve of who won, right? And those people are going to have the economies. So, okay, I'll explain. What I've seen since September, October were dead. October was like double dead, right? It was one of the deadest months I've seen. And how do I know? In my company, just so people know, I count, like I have, let's say 30, 40 projects for anywhere from the Hard Rock all the way down to Capcana, right? And my administrator every single month goes through it and puts how many properties have been sold, right? So I can engage overall picture of how much sales are going. It's not an exact figure because I can't do all the projects here. There's a million of them, but you know how it is. It's almost like a survey that I do, right?
Okay,
and I can tell them the top sellers. Yeah. So what I do is this, you know, you take your top 10 Sosua, you take your top 10 Cabarete, your top 5 Cabis or whatever, right? And you do that and whatever, you can pretty much get an idea of the market if you do that monthly. And I've been doing that all year. So I basically can tell you if it's slow, because if all my top producers, you know, sold 10, 15% of what they normally would sell in a month. And I see October, I see September, I see those numbers dwindling down, right? I can tell we're in a slowdown. Now, what I have seen since the election is a complete 100 miles an hour. Whoa, let's go. My agents are busy. People are calling because also the people that are on the side that are okay with who won, they have consumer confidence. I mean, you saw all the things that are going on, all the stuff that he's going to do, and people have confidence. Bitcoin went up. The economy finally looks like it's going to turn back around, and that's what people voted. This vote was about the economy. There were a lot of other issues, and I understand they're personal to certain people, depending on which side you're on. And those are personal issues, and they're very important to you because you feel strongly about them. But overall, if you look at by counting, you look at the votes in the United States, we're probably more united than ever because so many people chose the economy. I think the last 4 years have been an economical disaster for people, and people just want a better economy and they want controlled borders, right? Those are the two main things that people voted on. And I think no matter what they say in public, no matter what they say to everybody else, when they was time for them to check off those little boxes, people voted with that. They said, you know, I'm not going to be pushed into the vote because of, you know, special interest or because of whatever it is. They voted because, you know, when you can't pay, when you control the population, they have to be at least happy, right? They have to be making some money. Everything is cool. The United States is not happy. The United States has been really bad since June of 2022 when the free money ran out. We felt it here. Look, June 2022. From the pandemic to June 2022, I could have put a cardboard box by the beach and people would have bought it. They were fighting over it. No, I want to buy it. I want to buy it. Yeah. And then June of 2022, when all the freebies ran out, everything started to go back to we went out of a hypermarket into a regular market. And it's not a bad market, but it's not like, oh my God, it's raining, you know? And then you're going to see high consumer confidence. And with the lowering of taxes, right? We're talking just business stuff. This is not opinions. This is like lowering of taxes, making better tax benefits for the business in the United States is going to cause Americans to make more money. What do Americans do when they make more money? They invest it. What do a lot of them do? Invest it overseas. Where's one of the places where people invest their money overseas? In the Dominican Republic, amongst others, right? Mexico, Dominican Republic, Panama, they get a nice they get a nice influx from that, right? So if you have a good economy, people have money, people invest it. I mean, it's not rocket science here. Anybody can figure that out, right? So you're going to have all those kind of people that are going to want to invest here for different reasons, whether it's a winter home, whether it's a vacational home once in a while, whether it's a business venture or whatever. Now, getting back to the numbers, yes, the numbers have not been stellar. If you are in the streets, you know, and they've also built, coming out of the pandemic, it has been the biggest, I think, from the pandemic to now, the Dominican Republic has created the biggest construction boom since Christopher Columbus got here, right? And, at one point, you have too much, you always choice properties, trust property. I always talk about that. But at one point, you do have a lot of supply and not so much demand. Now, I know people love to put the numbers. We're growing. Look at 8 million tourists, 9 million tourists. People, please understand. The majority of those people are staying in resorts. If you guys do the research, they're building resorts all over the place right now, right? The government and the people they bring in to do that, the investors, they're building resorts. In the South, they built the whole Pedernales. They have the whole dock or whatever it is over there. The resorts are getting 90% of the people that come here. And we all know people come, they come to the resort. Eventually, they venture off the resort. Oh, my God, I like it. It's so cool. Everybody's so friendly. I want to buy a place here for my paradise. And that's the natural cycle of things, right? But people have to understand it's not going to be like, oh, you saw 9 million people come in the airport and 8 million are going to be running through the streets of Sosua and Punta Cana. No, that's not going to happen. Also, a lot of people, and I don't know on your side of the island, but a lot of people bought for investment. Now they're trying to resell it. They're trying to Airbnb it. And a lot of property is vacant because everybody bought property for the same thing. And you said it yourself. A person who has a specific clientele is going to do well. A person who has a choice location is going to do well. But everyone else buying, right? Imagine this. Imagine, let's say Mulata 3, right? Like Mulata 3, I'll put it away from the beach, right? Imagine they built 1,000 units in Mulata 3 during the pandemic to now for Airbnb. Now you got 1,000 units in Mulata. Okay, the guys are there by Quisante, the guys are there by Playa Alicia, those kind of condos, Cabarete, that are like oceanfront. They're going to do well, right? We know that, right? Because those are choice properties, right? But now you got 1,000 units sitting in Mulata 3. And everybody wants to Airbnb it.
I got a little anecdotal story for you. So I got a client, I mentioned him already. He's a local hotel owner. He builds his own hotels, runs them. His kid helps him. He's the contractor, developer, speculator. He's connected. He's got a good lawyer. His lawyer calls him every once in a while. Buy this. What? Buy this. He does well for himself. He picked up beside the Victorian in Cab East. Is it East Cabarete or Cabarete East?
Well, in English, it's Eastern Cabaret. Eastern Cabaret.
What do they call? What's
English,
the local?
right?
It's Cab East is what they say locally. Right?
Cabaret Este.
Este comes last.
Sí,
okay.
Because Este
Somebody
is
corrected me
Santo
on
Domingo
that.
Este.
It's not Cabarete East. It's East Cabarete. And I looked it up on the map.
Right, no, but it's Cabarete Este because, like, you think about it, right? Santo Domingo Este, Santo Domingo Norte. The direction comes after the name of the town.
So, and I also got, when I took my contractor out, and he was describing another, you told me when we were having beers that, the racism runs deep within the Dominican family. Like, and he goes like this, he touches his skin, he goes, negro? He was describing this guy. I'm going, I guess I don't notice it, because he's a darker Dominican. Anyways, he says to me, I go, well, first, I said, you going to tell me how much you paid for this? And he smiles. He says, no. I said, not yet. I can ask, but you're not going to tell me. Yes, he says. And I like this guy, and he pays tax on every dollar. He's got great books. I got a couple of his properties for sale because, I was hustling a bunch of hotels with a buyer's group that we apparently didn't have. And he says, this is my last one. I go, what? He's keeping 29 units. He's selling 15 one-bedrooms on the beach for 109. He's holding half down. It's genius. There's 65-meter units, 175 a month. It's an old, abandoned timeshare or something right beside the Victorian. I go, what? Are you kidding? No? He goes, I go, you do, like, why? He goes, it's all over. I go, it's all over when? He goes, 2 years. I go, what? He goes, they're not collecting taxes on Airbnb. That's not going to go like that forever because they've got a lobby group, right? The hotel owners are, probably a pretty powerful lobby group in this country. That's not going to fly for much longer. They're building like crazy everywhere. Where's the demand coming from? When the market levels out, they're going to have too much. And he predicted that we'd lose in a couple of years, would start losing value on property values in Dominican Republic. The property values are going to go down. He says, yeah. I said, when's the last time that happened? And he threw out a number. I think he said 94. he said, yeah, I bought a lot of real estate in '94, and it's over. I'm like, whoa. Because, I sit with my Russian father, and he's traveled all over the world. Former Vietnam vet, and he was in the CO2 business at breweries. So he's an engineer, and he's built a brewery in every country all over the world. First class, he flew, everywhere. Stayed in the nicest. He's seen it all. And he looks around, he goes, I've seen this before. It's too much. The demand's not going to be there. And I don't know. It's a you got to weigh the thoughts, but we've all seen it. Overdevelopment, too much product on the market, and the market goes flat for a long time. So we'll see what happens, but an interesting perspective.
So no, well, I semi-agree. Not semi. I agree to a certain extent, right? And I'll tell you, because I'll be brutally honest, because that's what I do. Again, we're going to remove the choice stuff, right? We're going to remove the stuff that's like, for you guys, let's say Cabarete, Kite Beach, that's really nice, all that beach stuff, right? We're going to remove the prime properties. As you and I know, I think prime properties always do well, right? Because it's demand, because people are not going to stop coming to a place. Now, with that being said, Frank Rainieri, who's the owner who built Punta Cana, right? He said a few years ago in an interview, and this was really important, he said the Dominican Republic, and we're going to remove the resorts right now because the resorts are a separate thing. The Dominican Republic, in order to maintain tourism, has to become more than just a beach. And what they have lacked, and we all know that, is the infrastructure in the beach towns where people go. So what's going to happen, there is going to come, and then you take that, right, and you put it together with the high prices right now. Again, you guys, you go to on that side of the island, there's places you can eat for 250, 350 pesos, and there's no tax, nothing, they're off the books or whatever. Those days also, right now, the government's plan is to look for evaders. They were like, okay, we can't pass the Reforma Fiscal. It came out yesterday. They said, we're going after the evaders. So now they're going to be popping up on all these businesses like, hi, do you have an NSA? Do you pay? They do this. I've seen them do it. They did it to my office in Santo Domingo. They pop up on your door. They're like, yeah, what's up? Who's the manager? Where's your paperwork? Are you registered? Oh, no? Boom, shut down. Right? So that's coming now because that's what they're going to do. So what you have is and I'm speaking for people, Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, Santiago, I'm talking about major, even Las Terrenas. Las Terrenas are expensive. You guys still got some cheap stuff in Sosúa, Cabarete, but Las Terrenas, if you go to Las Terrenas, you go to one of those nice restaurants on the beach, Mosquito or whatever, I'm not coming out of there on the 5,000. For me and my girl, a couple of beers and a burgers and a snack or whatever, I'm not coming out of there for under 5,000-6,000, right? Now you say, well, that's, a lot cheaper than my, yeah, but people go to Mexico, they have a lot more being built, infrastructure being built in Tulum and places like that, right? You look at Cancun, it's built out. You look at certain places, and as far as like living, you look at other places like Panama where everything's much more affordable. You talked about your washing machine, right? I bought a Tower washing machine, the automatic one, right? Because I don't have the patience for the Dominican one. I bought it, and it cost me like $1,600, $1,500 here, and the same one's $1,000 when I went to Panama. So what's going to happen is this country, if they don't figure out how to retain people here, because I do see it, and I know you've seen it. If you ever criticize anything, if you say anything that's not like, oh my God, everything's beautiful, people are like, go back to your country. Why don't you just go back home? We don't need you here. We have
those are just the bitter expats. There's no locals ever saying that.
No, there's locals that'll tell you that too. They're like, we're the best. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. But you can't have that attitude because what happens right now, you've got, look, let's just put Las Terrenas. I don't know, not as much there, but the Sosúa, Cabarete, Puerto Plata, Santiago, Santo Domingo, Punta Cana, right? I'm giving you major cities right now, right? They built 500,000 units. I don't even know. I can't even put a number on it, right? Where are these people coming from that are going to occupy these places, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's more than it's actually more than that because I'm Santo Domingo. What am I talking about? Santo Domingo's probably got like 600,000 or whatever, half a thousand, half a million, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know, but where are all these people coming from if you're not offering for things outside? So you have an increase in prices, super high taxes, and a ton of inventory.
It's a bad combination,
what from that?
Yeah.
What from that is good, right? Mm-hmm. Now, again, there's going to be the people that are going to come. I'm in Punta Cana, so I'll tell you, there's people that are always going to come to Cap Cana. They're going to golf. Punta Espada, they got Las Iguanas that's opening up. They got the, Punta Cana Resort has 2 stunning golf courses, right? There are people that are going to want to be around here by the beach. There are going to be people that want to be in some of these communities here and be here with the beach access and everything like that. But we're talking about now what else, right? To increase what else? Here in Punta Cana, they're betting on City Place. City Place is going to be the epicenter of the Caribbean. It's going to be like Orlando meets whatever. It's finally going to be, because I know expats from the north coast are like, Punta Cana is like Florida. Like, man, no, it's not. No, we're very far from that. No, I wish it was, and it's not. It's not the Disneyland people think. You've been here. There's stuff here, but it's not. We have a lot more than we had in the past, of course, and I'm grateful for that. But there's no like, oh my God, yeah, let's go here, let's go to no, it's still not there, right? But they have to. I think they have to, as a collective, as a government, get together and be like, we got to make the streets nicer, make it look like beach towns, paint places, make it safer for the expat community, make it nicer, give people value when they come there. You know, the same way they do the Confiture with projects that are in tourist zones. Okay, why don't you do a Confiture for taxes for businesses, that are restaurants and bars, to keep them open, instead of them trading hands? Because if you look at most expat-owned businesses, they're novelty. They're what do I call those? They're hobby businesses. Most of them don't make enough money to make a good living in this country. If I have a business here in Punta Cana and I'm not making at least $5,000-$6,000 clean a month after all my taxes, all my expenses, I can't live here. And then it's just a fun business. It's a toy. I'm rich and look, I have a business. Whee! Look at me. I'm working. Everybody. That's not real, right? And if you understand that, people don't understand. I understand the taxes. And the issue here, because I was talking to a friend of mine from Colombia, right? And he was like, apparently the tax is like 19% there, but everything is cheaper. And he was like, how? My friend from here, who's a lawyer, was like, how is that happening? I said, I'm assuming that things here get taxed on in many different levels than other countries. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't really know, right? I think it's like 18% to come in, plus that, plus this, plus that. Then it gets to the next consumer. He pays 18%. Then I buy it and I pay 18%. Then I sell it to you and it gets 18%, 108%, right? That's the only thing I can think of, because that's going to affect the economy. I had a friend of mine, I'm going to be brutally honest with everybody because they know how I am, right? I had a friend of mine who wanted to buy here. He was here for an event in a hotel. He stayed one day in Los Corrales, right? And he went there right around the Cat's Corner area because he was staying there. He went to eat breakfast, right? Right around where you and I met, right? And he said, bro, I went and I spent on breakfast $16, right? With a tip and everything. Breakfast was $16. That's standard for us here, right? And he was like, I'm looking at black water in potholes. He was like, I could be in Tampa or I could be in Jersey and New York for that price and have a nicer view. That's what they have to do here. That's why you're seeing a slowdown, because people now, the pricing. So DR, those of us that have been here a long time, I've been here 20 years, DR was really affordable. When things are affordable, you're willing to forego quality. You're like, come on. I mean, I'm paying $2 for this. What do you want? You know what I mean? Now when that $2 product costs $12, you're like, wait, but I'm paying $12 now. Where's the service? Where's the quality? You understand what I mean? Like a burger that looks like it was put together by a kid and you charge $15, then people have an issue. When that burger is 200 pesos, like the person in Sosua that put up the stuff, for 200 pesos, what the hell do I expect, man? Eat it, it's either edible or it's not. You know what I'm saying? At that point, there's nothing else to talk about, right? Because it's dirt cheap. I'll give you 100% tip. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. It's the overbuilding. And it's, if you've been here, the years you've been here, have you actually seen any improvement? Like real improvement. The streets are better. The lights, they're painted. Everything's starting to look like Tulum. Everything's starting to look like a crazy beach town.
Yeah, it's actually crazy what's been going on in Sosua. They put a whole string of streetlights in. They did curbs and sidewalks. They've done massive private, like there's new building going on everywhere. Like across from Cheers, that big corner that goes between the two streets beside the cable place.
Yep.
They leveled the whole corner. And they started construction on it, and a lot of stuff's getting finished off, and it's been, I mean, right down to potholes being filled. I saw a truck the other day.
So you guys are doing a better job, because here we're not seeing that, and we're not seeing that in Santo Domingo, where it's flooded every time it rains.
Well, it still does
right?
that.
The whole city.
They did curbs and sidewalks from Sosua to Cabarete, and it didn't, it was surprisingly quick. But
that's what they need to keep doing, because they're not doing that here. In most of the country, I'm just letting you know, most of the country, they're not. I'm not seeing like, oh, wow, like major improvements, right? I mean, you came to Punta Cana, you saw it. It's not like, it almost doesn't even feel like a beach town sometimes in certain areas, right? They have to step it up in order to retain these people. A lot of people invest their money and they bought for Airbnb. And that's why it goes back to what I say. If you're looking for Airbnb, like I don't have beach houses where I'm at because I'm a quality, like if I'm going to buy my apartment, I'm doing a lifestyle buy. That's different, right? There are people who do lifestyle buys. But when you're talking about investment, buy with beach access, be close to the beach, walking distance to the beach. Those places in general, not always, will do best. I know people will do better. I know people who doubled, the property went double in price. So I don't want to make it look like it's bad for everybody. But there's a lot of B product that's being put out there. And in order to fill the B product, you've got to do more. You've got to do things to bring people. Because if they're doing all that stuff in Sosua, but then I see guys crying on the internet that it's slow, that nobody's coming, that the streets are empty. So it's like, what else is going on, right?
Been slow,
what are
man,
you
for
doing
sure.
to bring clients besides the beach? The beach is not enough.
No, amen.
You can only bring so many people from, and let's get another thing, right? Sosua was known for many, many years, even Cabarete at one point, as red light cities, right? The red light district version, like Medellin blew out. All the guys that used to be here before coming for the girls, they're all gone. They're in Colombia right now. Quality, price, everything better there, right? So what happens is you're even losing that because I was talking to my friend. I've been coming here for 20 years. Man, when I first started coming, I was in Santiago. This place was a party place. I don't even consider DR me because I've been here again. I know for the new people, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. It's a party place, have fun. But for me, it's chill. I like my friends when I go to Santiago, when I do stuff like that. But it's not, I like my típico. I hear some típico. I get a band up there, and I'm doing my bottle of rum, and I'm happier than anything. But I don't consider, like, if I want to party, I think of going to Colombia. If I want clubs, nice bars on top of bars, if I want that whole, going through Amsterdam type of thing or whatever, meaning like the nightlife or East Village in New York or whatever, I don't think of here like that anymore because the nightlife has changed in the Dominican Republic in the last 20 years. If you've been here for 20 years, this place used to be boom, boom, bling, bling, blang, bang. And now it's chill, but it's not that. So what are you doing to bring people? If they're not coming for the parties, right? If they're not coming for the girls, the beach, but what else? And this is where it's up to the government to fill all these B and C properties that people invested money in this country building and people invested money buying these properties, right? So the government now should have a duty to try to maintain its own market, I think, right? Like you invested in all these people, you did Couture, you did all these things. But now you've got to, and the biggest developer in the country, the most successful one, said that the Dominican Republic has to become more than just beaches. So if this man who built Punta Cana from a marshland said this, who am I to say that it should be something else, right?
Brother, just on the way out, and I'm doing this for SEO purposes, how's my boy Hassan working for your SEO on YouTube? I mean, I didn't know
he did a great job.
Yeah, I didn't know that that was all important for every video and thumbnails. And I mean, I get it, but he does stuff that I would never have the patience or the talent. Like he searches keywords and tags and hashtags and stuff like that. I'm just, dude, holy shit. And he made that. I told him, you got to make this flyer for me and this thumbnail for me so I can tell Mario you did it for nothing. So he didn't charge me.
Yeah, no, I can't. Like, I'm just not a tech guy. I'm not. I rather have somebody. I admit my faults, and I am not techie tech. It's just just doing good content and just doing content and getting it out there. People think that like you do a cool podcast, and people are like, oh my god, your podcast's so great. You're gonna get 1 million views. No, I'm not, and it's not because my podcast is not great. It's because it's not real. Meaning, like the internet doesn't work like that. Right? It's not like, oh, you put a great product and they don't put it in front of people if you don't have the master code to the mathematical science of the speed of light squared by 4. Like it's super complicated and it changes every week. It changes every month. All the algorithms change, the rules change, and Instagram works like this, but then it went like that. Oh, it's tiring. I want to go back to simple days. You know what I mean? I'm a simple man.
Jack LaChance says hello on YouTube. Rob Primo's in from Niagara. What up, Primo? And Sojourner? Oh, Sojourner's actually, I thought this was spam. It says this live stream is so informative. It looks like they're going to pivot to luxury hotels and resorts and apartment hotels.
Well, they already have. They I mean, everybody knows this. They're competing here with Mexico, right? Because Mexico's number one, I believe, for all inclusives. So, and the amount of hotels. So they're trying to rival Mexico. That's where it's going. And most of the big money, I don't know if you realize, right? The infrastructure that you're seeing this government build, right? Highways, roundabouts, like Circunvalación in the south, they do one de Azua or something like that, right? All of it is centered around resorts. It's not actually, we want to think that it's because of us, but it's access to resorts that are being built or they're going to be built. If that makes sense, right? Power plants that are going up in like Monte Cristi. Why? Because they're prepping for all the resorts they're going to open up over there, right? They already have those deals in the hopper. So that's going to happen. That's why they got their power plant ready. There's going to be a muelle for the ships there and everything like that being pulled and all of that. So yes, everything they're doing is around resorts. That has to be clear. That's where the big money in this country comes in, right? For them, for the politicians, for everybody, however they do it, right? Then the secondary market is us. But we spend a ton of money because I spoke to people that work in the resorts, and they told me the demographic. The resorts, the people come in, they got their little $30, $40 in singles that they give $1 tip to everybody there. And those people don't come off the resorts unless they're doing a tour that's approved by the resort, because the resort makes it look like it's Afghanistan outside. People have asked me, why don't the resorts in front of them clean up, make it look beautiful, the roads and everything? They don't want that because they want you to be scared. I'm so scared. I ain't going outside of there. I'm safe in my resort, and they're going to drive me. They make it seem like that we live like in the middle of a war zone out here because they want to retain people inside, because you also have to remember the resorts make a commission on everything they do, right? Like if you want to do a tour for a resort person, you got to, I think it's 35%. I don't know what they charge to the providers, right? So what ends up happening is they want everything going through them. That makes sense.
Yeah, no,
and then luxury, obviously, luxury is always going to do well because, I mean, come on. If you've got $1 million apartment in Cap Cana and you've got your Punta Spada membership and you're playing golf, you're not leaving. You have properties in other places. You're here. You're in Panama. You're in Vegas. You're in Miami. You're coming here all the time because you came here to play golf, world-class golf, right? Those luxury people are still going to be here. You got your yacht in the marina. You're still coming here. You got your big mansion in Punta Cana Resort. You come here, you do whatever. You're here for a month. Then you go to Miami for a month. Then you maybe go to Europe for a month. Then you're back here for the holiday season or whatever. I've seen how these people do it. So, yes, those markets are going to do well all the time. I think entry-level cheap is going to do bad. Remember, in theory, the 1,000 units in Mulata 3. That's the hypothetical there. That would be like, and now what? Where are the people coming from that want to be in La Mulata 3, right? 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers from the beach and need a car and need all that stuff. And there's nothing there besides the road going down and the colmado if it's still there with the German restaurant, right? So that's it. So that's what it is.
You don't know this yet, but I've already taken you off the screen and gone back to your very dynamic webpage, man. That splash page is really cool, but there goes Spider-Man again. I hope he doesn't become my thumbnail with your mug and Spider-Man behind you. I love you, brother. Thank you for your time. That was an hour. I got to get rid of you because I got my Eagles coming up 1 hour from now. Gavin McInnes is kicking off live too. Got to check in with my boys, and hopefully we take some Redskins down to the turf tonight. What are you up to?
Me, I'm actually going to shower. I was in the gym, and that's it. Light night, I got an early showing tomorrow for a 6-unit condo hotel that I have here. They're selling all 6 units as the whole hotel, so I have clients coming in for that. And, yeah, I'm taking it light. Tomorrow I'm going to go out and watch the fight. I want wings, I want alcohol, and I want the fight tomorrow.
Aha. If you're a betting man, who are you taking? Do you think it'll go decision because it's a exhibition match?
I don't know, man. I honestly
think it's eight 2-minute rounds.
I want Tyson to win, obviously, because I don't know, Jake Paul. Not that I'm a hater, but like Jake Paul,
shut up.
Right? Anyway, I think it's a shame for the real boxers, whatever. But also
Iron Mike Tyson has got to be one of the greatest comeback stories of all time. Michael Vick was a nice comeback story, and I know there's been many, but those are the ones that are closest to my heart. Tyson was. Man, it was tough upbringing for him, and then he just got totally taken advantage of, and then mental health being managed like that, and now he's healthier than he's ever been, man.
He's cool as ever. I think for Tyson to win, I think it would have to be come in, boom, bang, bang, knock him out. I think if they try to go the rounds because of his age, he might not be able to last in the stamina. That's what I think.
All right. Well, I will be watching it with you live tomorrow, my brother. I'll stay in touch over WhatsApp. Hey, give everybody your contact just on the way out so they know how to get a hold of you.
The easiest way to get rid of me, find me is MarioFamaRD.com. I have my WhatsApp right on the bottom. If you see, when you go to my page, there's a WhatsApp there. There's a contact me button. My real estate page is up there. Everything I do is there. MarioFamaRD.com. That's where you can find all my businesses and everything, and my referrals. And if you looked in there, look on the lifestyle. You can find even in Sosua restaurants, hospitals, bars, and everything. If you've got businesses that you want to put up, you send them through the page. There's a button there right on the home page, and I will publish it for you. And pretty soon I'll be doing a lot of marketing for the website to help expats that are coming to Las Arenas, Sosua, Cabarete, Bayaibe, anywhere, to find at least the basics: supermarkets, bars, restaurants, and that kind of stuff.
I just put your link in the comments. Sojourner says he got a kick out the Afghanistan comment. Says great guest, and I know he's a great guest. That's why I keep having him on, man. I appreciate your time, brother. And thanks.
And next time you come, you got to come on my show. We got to coordinate.
Damn straight.
On Tuesday,
oh,
so you can be on my show.
Now I'm booking another trip down there. What was the bar we went to on the beach there in
Onos.
Onos. Got it.
Onos.
All right. I'll give
Taco
that
Tuesdays.
some love too. Taco Tuesday. Love you, brother. Peace out.
Love you too.
Peace.
Be good.
All right. Ciao.
Bye.
That's how you do that. Mary Fama, my guest. He's always very generous with his time. That's an hour. I haven't been doing all that many live shows lately. It's been a strange time here, man. The market's weird. I'm weird. Moving's weird. It's all weird. So, anyway, for AI, this voice that you're hearing now is Jim Fannin. The other voice that was here was Mario Dragos, also known as Mario Fama. RR is RD, República Dominicana. So RR is the RD, not Dominican Republic, not DR. It's RD. So Mario Fama RD.com is where you find that man if you want to get in touch with him. He's on the South Shore, Punta Cana, Bavara, Boca Chica, Santo Domingo, whatever. He's down on that coast. And that coast does not suck. I went down to see that coast, and that coast's got pink sand. I like the fine pink sand. Peace, love, hug your neighbor.